I'm wondering if you had any kind of a creative genesis moment when the idea came to you and you knew you had to make this film, and why.
Yes. It started out as a murder mystery, the murder of the forces against the book. And I had named then five of them: uh, uh, water, fire, censorship, decay, and ignorance. The electronics wasn't even involved, the digital one. And because it looked like, we were reading a lot of books and a lot of articles about the demise of the book. So that's how it started out.
This is
But
about 5 years ago.
this is about four and a half years ago. The idea, from the moment the idea comes until it really goes from the behind the head to the front of the head, it takes, gels. But then it became clear that we needed to really widen the focus, as everything. It was like sitting on top of a volcano that was completely quiet, and then it started erupting in all directions, and I was trying to follow the various directions, to see where it was going to take us.
And
And it took
it was changing dramatically in that 5 year period because that's pretty much the time after the Kindle completely shook everything up.
exactly. And it's not just, yes, the Kindle, you said it very well. The Kindle was, once we had electronic readers that were feasible, you could actually sit and read a book through them, and the portability and the purchasing, and I want to read that book, it's there, instant gratification. You're right. It really revolutionized things.
Now, you had a great opportunity and kind of a rare one to interview Jeff Bezos as part of the film. How did that happen early in the process of the interviews, and how much time did you spend with him?
It was really a wonderful interview. He was very gracious. Um, so I It was somebody in Cambridge, in the Cambridge press, uh, s- gave me an email address, and I emailed, and they responded positively. They were amazing, and he was so gracious. He gave me, he wanted to give me half an hour. He gave me 45 minutes,
Wow.
and it was really an amazing interview. And he was very bright, very warm, very gracious, and you got the sense that he really wanted to do good. That's the sense you got. Um, of course, still being a brilliant businessman, and those are not mutually exclusive. So, but the way, and he has a lot of competition, and he's trying. So it was a very good interview. Yes.
So, was the interview with Scott Turow at the Authors Guild after you interviewed Bezos?
Yes, yes. But they really complemented each other, because it turned out that the way we were able to edit them was like they were having a conversation, and it worked out really well, because there were a couple of points of view, and then you throw Darcy in, the self-publisher, Darcy Chan, and it became a very nice threesome. One saying one thing, sometimes contradictory, sometimes complimentary. The other one, as a writer, she herself could contribute the advantages of Amazon for a writer, and she actually status was between the two worlds. She really enjoyed the fame that and the opportunity that self-publishing gave her and that Amazon gave her, at the same time that now she is publishing with the traditional publications.
Yeah, exactly right. The one thing which Bezos didn't get a chance to respond to was Scott Turow had some pretty rough comments that Amazon, as a competitor, acts with ruthlessness and savagery. And first of all, I wondered, what is he referring to there, and did you end up thinking that that was in any way a fair description of the way Amazon competes?
Well, I think Scott Turow was really representing strictly in that comment the pricing situation, the predatory pricing. Um, and with that, um, you know, I I think, how do I say this? Um, that's what the market is doing.
Hmm.
It's not just Amazon. That's what the market is doing. And Scott Turow really does have to watch out for the author.
Mm-hmm.
And the author in this world is not necessarily um, getting paid. And he is concerned about that. Um, so, was he fair? Was he not fair in the comment? It's economy, and I'm not in the realm of that aspect. I didn't really, I just want to see that the authors are paid properly and the artists are, because in our society we're slowly diminishing the, not necessarily the importance, but the rewards, the monetary rewards that our artists get, and that's not a good situation.
Mm. And
So,
then you had some fascinating counterpoint from John Perry Barlow, who's sort of on the other end of, well, even if artists don't get paid, they will do this because they want to make sure that they're being kind to future generations and letting knowledge flow forward. What was your take on John Perry Barlow?
uh, well, on that comment, it got a lot of laughs in theaters. Well, you don't get paid with money, Well, you gotta eat, but but he was so eloquent. I mean, he was a lyricist for the Grateful Dead before he went into the Electronic Frontiers Foundation.
Yeah.
And when he speaks, he's really poetry. It's unbelievable. I love listening to every sentence of his. And he actually gave me a sentence which described me. Throughout, the author, the creator comes out, right? And one of the things he said is that a friend of his actually called him a pronoid. And he asked, what is a pronoid? And she said to him, it's someone with a pathological belief that the universe is a conspiracy on our behalf. And it's so true. You can imagine how with this film, I was elated, I was depressed, I was elated within, an hour.
Yeah.
And then that line, I kept thinking, I am a pronoid. I really think we will figure this out.
Hmm.
Because as you know, the way the film ended up progressively was a logical progression. Is I have, as somebody pointed it out, a chorus of high school students and college students in the top high schools and universities around the country who were not ashamed to say, I haven't read a book all year. I haven't stepped into a library. It's okay not to have done it, because we all didn't do it once in a while. It's not okay, but it's almost acceptable if you're embarrassed about it, if you know you have to fix it. It's something I shouldn't be doing. I slept all day. I shouldn't be doing that. I should be, so don't, okay, correct it, not flaunt it. And the flaunting it worried me that perhaps it will be harder to change that. Because let's face it, and that's why I was thrilled to have Ray Bradbury, because he really wrote, when he wrote Fahrenheit 451, he was talking about what's going to happen when there are no books.
Mm.
And he had other reasons, but you don't have your reader, then you work back from the film, and you don't have the writer, you don't have the publisher, it all falls apart. So the reader is very important for our future. And I did my own survey in addition to all the statistics that I found. And my own survey, and I got 10% response from faculty in top institutions, from public to private. and they all said, most of them said that the students will not read fully the full assignment. And the reason, the first three reasons that they point to is that they're not used to it, it's too difficult, and there are too many distractions. So even though these things existed before Kindles, before technology, in fact, the simple Kindle is wonderful. There are no distractions. It's the only thing you can do without, the email, the text, the phones. So knowledge transcends format. I'm a big fan of my Kindle app on iPhone in the subway. Most of the time, reception is bad, so all I get to do is read the Kindle. So it's wonderful. The distractions are a big problem. And now they're portable distractions. People say, didn't we always have distractions? Yes, but now they're so portable in the middle of the street. So I think having a dedicated reader is like having a book. You may not have the five senses going the way you'd like, but once you get into the book, it's there. And when I said knowledge transcends format, what concerns me is that we consider knowledge now what we pick up. We have a question, we go the answer, look, we know it. That is an answer to a question we already have. I really believe true knowledge is when the question comes up as you are learning, as you are delving into something. And that I'd like to see a lot more of.
And
That's why even though I love the algorithms because sometimes they help me, on the other hand is, preaching to the converted. You're just talking to me. Expand my brain. I don't want to go with just the things that I've always done. Take me out of my comfort zone. Let me ask the question and let me have a series of different answers so I can expand my brain.
that's probably, when you think about it, the advantages of reading a 300-page book are, you think you picked up the book to answer a question, but if you really stick with it, it'll probably spark other questions.
Tons of them. Well, that's why, there are two things I want to bring up based on what you just said. One is the Amazon singles. That was a brilliant move. And I think Jeff Bezos, from what I know from the 45 minutes that I met him, I think it was a way, he knows that people are reading shorter form. He said it in the film many times. So he is offering people who read shorter forms still a story with the singles, and he's not the only one doing it, this violence, and the little novellas, but he's putting a lot of effort in doing that. That's wonderful. That's one of the ways to respond to our society wanting shorter reading. Give them shorter reading. Great. But at the same time, we shouldn't just settle for that. Give them shorter reading and train them back into the longer reading. It's good for everyone, for society, for diversity, for the questions that come up. When you think about it, besides a relationship you have with a human, a relationship with a book has really many times instilled so many feelings in you. You come out after a book loving, hating, angry, crying. It really is a relationship we have with this tremendous character. It's the author and all that the author has created for you. I left an after credit that really expresses the journey in a way. Jeff Bezos at the very end, oh, maybe I shouldn't be giving it away, but for those who don't sit through the credits, he says at the end, I don't know how you're going to make any sense of all this, but it will be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, he said it would be magic if you do.
Thank you.
Well, I think you did. So it's a wonderful documentary, and I think it enlivens the conversation to have it all out there with such articulate people. So.
Yeah, and altogether, that was my goal. That I wasn't just going into publishing or into the gadgets, and so sometimes it felt like I really wanted to delve into each subject. There are at least 10 subjects in there that could be a full movie.